Alright guys, this is something I wanted to make for a really long time. This is a custom wheel spacer adapter to let you put Can-Am independent rear suspension wheels on the back of your Honda Rancher or Honda Foreman solid axle. No more stacking spacers, none of that crap. This is a simple bolt-on solution. It'll be on sale on the Tarachi website soon. Still working through pricing, but I'll make another video of that, or I'll just post it on the Facebook pages once we figure it out. These are super sweet. We're also coming out with a whole line of wheel spacers. We found an awesome factory that does wheel spacers at SEMA. We got them to make these custom ones for us, so we figured we might as well make a whole line because everyone needs good wheel spacers. And the Amazon ones are just kind of, I don't want to say they're bad, but you never know what you're getting. You never know who's actually making it, and we've had a lot of issues with them.
Right, Honda guys, you're going to love this. Made some custom spacers for us finally. These spacers adapt your Honda ATV to Can-Am lug pattern, so you can run the 4x137 wheels or the 4x136 wheels. And they also give you the correct width so you don't have to stack spacers. So this is how I've done it forever. It's super sketchy, but you got to do it because if you want to run modern IRS beadlocks, or you want to run my 18s or anything like that, you've got to adapt your 4x110 lug pattern to Can-Am lug pattern. It's a lot more common, a lot more wheel options. This is how we've done it before, right? You stack some spacers. These two spacers help get you the correct offset. This is your adapter to help you get the right lug pattern. These adapters are terrible. They're really cheap Amazon ones. There's all kinds of issues with them. They usually don't fit quite right, but we've been making it work, and I'm sick of it. So we have a better solution now. So the problem with this is, with this setup, you have 4, 8, 12, 16 lug nuts on each corner. That's asinine. So a better way to do this, I did recently, was I bought these $100 2.5 inch spacers. Very expensive. And then I could do this to get about the proper offset, but you still had 4, 8, 12 lug nuts. That's a lot of lug nuts. Not ideal. So with this new Tarachi spacer I made, you don't have to do that anymore. This is the only spacer you need in the rear. It'll give you the proper lug pattern and the proper offset. Anodized black, looks super clean, and you only have 8 lug nuts per wheel. These nuts bolt onto your factory studs, bolt your wheel on, and then use whatever lug nut you want. The thing that drives me the most crazy about wheel spacers, I'm sure it drives you guys crazy too, is spacers like this, where you can't even fit a thin wall 17mm socket in them. That is obnoxious. So I wanted to make sure I fixed that. With the spacers we designed, you can obviously easily fit a thin wall socket 17 in there. You can also fit a impact rated socket 17 in there, and you can even fit a thin wall 19 in there. So whatever your lug nuts are, the holes are big enough to easily install them. Another obnoxious thing with these Amazon spacers are they just use these generic studs that are way too long. So they will run into the end of your lug nut, booger up the threads, and you can't get them off. I've had to actually cut down a lot of my spacers from Amazon in order to be able to use them. That's obnoxious. Obviously, we fixed that. The studs are the proper height to not damage your lug nuts, even if you're using aftermarket lugs. All right, quick tip for installing these. Obviously, when you torque your lug nuts, you should be using a torque wrench on a wheel spacer to the OEM spec. I know no one does that, but make sure you clean your hub. So this is just a wire brush. If you wire brush your hub and get the crap off of there, and then spray it with some carburetor cleaner and wipe it down, you're gonna have a much better seat between the spacer and the hub, and you're not gonna have any issues. All right, guys, there it is. Perfectly square, very perfect offset. There's the big old spacers on both sides. Nice and safe, no extra lug nuts than required. And these wheels are the 5+2 Tarachi beadlocks. Obviously, if you want more stance, you can run a wider offset wheel, or you could also stack spacers if you want to, but I think this is the perfect stance. The tire is sticking out just a little bit from the fender flare, and that's really what you want for the best stability from water wheelies and everything else. Of course, we have front spacers up there. I'm about to throw those on the front, and I'll show you how that looks. The front spacers are just a standard 25mm thick. The reason we did that is because you don't have to chop your wheel studs. If you run some of the thinner spacers, like these, which are like 3/4 of an inch, you have to chop wheel studs. No one wants to do that. So I went with the thinnest spacer up front I could get without trimming wheel studs, because I don't want to make you guys way too wide up front. These will be going on sale in a couple weeks probably. These 80mm spacers are going to go on sale any day now. All right, there's the front adapter all installed. There's the specs on it. Very cool. And now I just got to bolt up this wheel, and we'll be ready to go ride. And then in the front, we've got the 25mm Chirachi spacer, which you can't really see because of the brakes. Maybe you can see it on this side. Yeah, there you go. You can see it down in there. And it's a 25mm adapter from Honda to Can-Am lug pattern. And you can look down the side and see it also sticks out just a hair from the fender. If you measure it, totally square. So really happy with that. And I don't have to have any stack spacers anymore. So this thing used to have like, I don't know, 100 lug nuts on it. Now it doesn't, which is great. Looks really sweet, really clean. It's a lot safer, more reliable setup than having all the extra lug nuts.